Today is Wednesday, April the 23rd, 2025, and it's approximately 5:02 p.m. And if I could have roll call, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
If you could please state your name for the record. Member from the City of Colton.
Frank Navarro.
Member from the City of Loma Linda.
Dusty Rigsby.
Member from the County of San Bernardino, 5th District.
Baca Jr. President.
Member from the City of Highland.
Penny Lopern.
Members from the City of San Bernardino.
Theodore Sanchez here.
Fred Charette.
Thank you. And I'd also like to note for the record that Member John Echevarria and Mayor Pro Tem Larry McKellen are both in the audience. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, we're going to...
Mr. Mayor, we do need to add, we need to take care of one business item. We have an item that we would like to add to closed session.
Okay.
If I can read this, and it's a two-step process. First would be to add this item to the agenda. It requires a motion and a second and a supermajority vote, 5 out of 6, to approve the addition. Once it is approved, then we can talk about it in closed session. If it's not approved, then we won't.
Okay.
But the item is this: the following matter came to the attention of the SBIAA staff subsequent to the posting of the agenda for this April 23rd, 2025 meeting. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2, staff is requesting the board take action to add this item to the agenda, and the action to be added would be to add the following item as closed session agenda item C, subsection C, conference with legal counsel pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, subsection D2, significant exposure to litigation, one case.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Sanchez moves. Baca seconds.
Thank you. We have a motion by Member Sanchez and a second by Member Baca. If you can please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro.
Yes.
Member Lilburn.
Yes.
Member Rigsby.
Yes.
Member Baca.
Baca aye.
Member Sanchez.
Yes.
And Member Charette.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
Okay. And at this time, we will adjourn to closed session, and we will reconvene shortly. Thank you. Thank you. We will reconvene our meeting, and at this time, I will ask our legal counsel to read us out of closed session, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As to all 3 items of closed session, the 2 items that are in the agenda plus the one that was added at the beginning of the meeting, as to all 3 items, no, there was no reportable action taken in closed session. Direction was given.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to call to order the open session of our meeting. And this evening I will ask to my left, Mayor Lilburn, to lead us in the pledge.
Please join me as we pledge to our great nation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, do we have any items to be added or deleted from today's agenda?
No, sir.
Thank you. Conflict of interest disclosure? Any members of the commission wishing to disclose conflict? Hearing none, seeing none. We will move on to item G, informational items. Mr. Burrows, please.
Thanks, Mayor. So we're going to start off with what we feel is some good news. As we've reported previously, FAA is one of a handful of agencies that was able to get some additional funds through the appropriations process, even including the recent continuing resolution. Reason for that is last year with FAA reauthorization, they recalibrated the formulas for funding for both cargo and passenger activity. And when we prepared your budget last year, that was not a known quantity there. So we were conservative in the number of grant dollars coming in and expenses going out. So you'll see later on in the packet we're requesting an adjustment to true that up. Good news is all the forecast projects are in motion, as you'll see with the first one in queue coming up. And then ask Mr. Gibbs to provide any other details on that. But you know, FAA continues to dole out the money and the projects, and we're ready to receive it. So, Mark, anything to add?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. That's good stuff. We consider ourselves in a great position when it comes to grant revenues from the Airport Improvement Program, AIP for short. As a primary airport, we're now in a position to receive what are called entitlement funds. And that's because of our status. We used to be a reliever airport, now we're what is called a primary airport, and that's due to the number of, the FAA calls them enplanements, but it's the number of passengers that board an airplane out of San Bernardino, whether they're going to San Francisco or whether they're going to Provo. Those statistics add up and lend themselves to the FAA's grant process. And in addition, as Mike mentioned, we've become the 25th busiest cargo airport in the nation, and there's a grant entitlement process for cargo as well. So when we receive those, Jeff is able to take those dollars and apply them to bread and butter infrastructure projects. It's really about non-exclusive portions of the airfield. And in a lot of cases, that's pavement, really non-revenue producing infrastructure projects. So there's a total of 3 of them this year that are going to take place. It looks like this fiscal year, before this fiscal year is out. As Mike mentioned, one of them is on the agenda for today. There'll be another one on the agenda next month, and the third one is a planning grant that you guys had approved earlier in the year. So we're excited to see those dollars flow towards your airport and keep it operating in a safe condition.
That concludes our report on that. I'll turn over to Jillian on a little refresh of the retention schedule. Jillian?
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Commissioners. The San Bernardino International Airport Authority's record retention schedule outlines how long we keep various types of records, both physical and electronic. The schedule ensures that we comply with legal and regulatory requirements, operate efficiently, and minimize storage costs. We have recently completed a review and update of this records retention schedule. This update reflects minor changes, which are inclusive of renumbering the retention number column, refining descriptions, and edits to legal citations that did not affect any retention. Resolution number 2024-02 was adopted in April of 2024 and provides for minor updates to be made administratively. There is no action required from the Commission at this time, and I'm available to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jillian. Any comments or questions from Jillian, from the Commission? Hearing none. Moving on to item H. These are Commission consent items, items 3 through 6. Chair Baca moves.
Second.
Second, Rhodes.
Thank you. We have a motion by Member Baca and a second by Member Rigsby. Please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro.
Yes.
Member Lilburn.
Yes.
Member Rigsby.
Yes.
Member Baca.
Baca.
Member Sanchez.
Yes.
Member Charette.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item I, Commission action items number 7. This to consider and adopt proposed budget adjustments for fiscal year 24-25. Mr. Cosano, if you would please.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is a $57,600 decrease in budgetary net income overall. It's comprised of estimated revenue increase of $1,564,400, which is comprised of $1,357,000 in FAA grants for taxiway A reconstruction and a pavement management program. An additional $90,000 for avgas sales is anticipated, and the expenditures that we anticipate is $1,622,000, and that is also comprised of the $1,357,000 in FAA grants for the taxiway A reconstruction and pavement management plan, $70,000 worth of avgas inventory purchases, and then there are also a $67,850 match and a $9,750 match that will become from ongoing revenues and cash on hand. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cosano. Questions, comments from commissioners? Baca moves.
Second.
Sanchez second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Member Baca and a second by Member Sanchez. Please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro.
Yes.
Member Lilburn.
Yes.
Member Rigsby.
Yes.
Member Baca.
Baca.
Member Sanchez.
Yes.
And Member Charette.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. My apologies. Public comment on item 7.
No, sir. No public comments.
Thank you. Moving on to item 8. approve a multi-year service agreement with Amtech Elevator Services LLC in an amount not to exceed $146,880 for preventative maintenance. Jonathan Galvan, if you would, please, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is for a 1 year with 2 one-year option extensions for a service contract with Amtech Elevator Services to begin July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. SBIAA has 6 facilities with a total of 7 elevators and 3 escalator conveyances that are frequently used. These conveyances must be routinely inspected and maintained by a licensed technician for safety and compliance as a requirement by state and local regulations under the Department of Industrial Relations. Staff solicited bids for these license services to 3 vendors on March 4th. 2 bids were received, and staff selected Amtech as the lowest bidder and most qualified vendor at the amount of $48,960 per year, or a total of multi-year contract for $146,880. Staff recommends the Commission approve this item and all related documents. That concludes my presentation, and I can take any questions at this time.
Thank you. Public comment on this item?
Move approval. Second.
Okay, I have Charette moves for approval. Sanchez seconds.
Thank you, sir. There were no public comments. We have a motion by Member Charette and a second by Member Sanchez. Please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro.
Yes.
Member Lilburn.
Yes.
Member Rigsby.
Yes.
Member Baca.
Aye.
Member Sanchez.
Yes.
And Member Charette.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 9. Approve award of a professional services agreement with ACOM Technical Services in an amount not to exceed $545,629 for reconstruct portion of the taxiway A project subject to final grant award, U.S. Department of Transportation, FAA. Mr. Gibbs.
Thank you, Mayor. Last February, the Commission approved what is the form of procurement for professional services for a list of 5 years of FAA-funded grant projects. So through that process, AECOM was selected as the most qualified bidder in accordance with FAA requirements. And as part of that procurement effort, each time one of the projects is ready to move forward, the professional services are required to undergo an independent fee estimate. That occurred with this process for construction management services, for which AECOM was selected over that 5-year period. And from that resulting IFE, there's further negotiations that take place with both the scope of services and the amount of hours required to provide those services. So that's what's before you here today, and it's to support the construction project, which you'll find in the following item, for award to a construction firm. So this is for the construction management services necessary for the FAA and all the various reporting requirements, and keeping the contractor on point and holding them to task with the requirements of the design package. So staff encourages approval of this process. And I think it's important to say of the contract award for this amount to AECOM, 95% of it is grant fundable through the AIP process.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. Comments or questions from commissioners?
Baca moves.
Second.
Public comment?
No, sir. No public comments.
Okay, Baca moves. Sanchez seconds.
Thank you. We have a motion by Member Baca and a second by Member Sanchez. Please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro.
Yes.
Member Lilburn.
Yes.
Member Rigsby.
Yes.
Member Baca.
Aye.
Member Sanchez.
Yes.
And Member Charette.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 10, approve the award of a construction contract with Sullivan Miller Contracting Company in the amount not to exceed $3,716,735 to reconstruct portion of Taxi A project, subject to final grant award, U.S. Department of Transportation, FAA. Mr. Gibbs.
Thank you, Mayor. This project is a construction. This is the construction portion of the project to reconstruct the section of Taxiway Alpha you can see before you. It's approximately 400 feet long, 75 feet wide. The concrete itself is roughly 2 feet thick before you get into the sub-base section, so it's a significant portion of taxiway. It's used a lot. This is the main departure into the runway for all aircraft at the airport, including wide bodies as well as narrow body aircraft. It's one of the pieces that was not constructed when the runway was reconstructed 20 years ago, and a portion of taxiway behind it was reconstructed approximately 12 years ago. But this piece has found its time to be reconstructed. This is a grant-funded project through the AIP program. So the local match for us is 5%. 95% of it is funded through an AIP grant. And the contract is not intended to be awarded until the grant is received by the FAA. We expect that in the coming weeks. But in the meantime, we are seeking your approval to move forward once that grant award is received by the agency.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. Comments, questions?
Move to approve.
Public comment?
No public comments.
Sanchez moves. Second, Baca.
Thank you. We have a motion by Member Sanchez and a second by Member Baca. Please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro.
Yes.
Member Lilburn.
Yes.
Member Rigsby.
Yes.
Member Baca.
Buckeye.
Member Sanchez.
Yes.
And Member Schreck.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 11, consider and discuss the SBD Good Neighbor Program first quarter 2025 report. Mr. Gibbs.
Thank you, Mayor. I am pleased to reintroduce you to your quarterly friend, Ms. Rosemary Barnes, here to walk you through this quarter's results from the Good Neighbor Program.
Thank you, Mark. Nice to see everybody again. And Mayor Navarro, Commissioners Mike and Mark, I'm really pleased to return to share the first quarter report, January through March 2025. Let's see, I've got command of this. Okay, first we'll look at some of the outreach and activities and milestones we shared with our community. We published the winter edition of our newsletter, sharing all the airport's great news and milestones and developments. For the first quarter, we continued to inform our community about Breeze Airways' new nonstops to Provo and the snow, as well as continuing nonstop service to the great city of San Francisco. We, in January, more sobering, alerted the community to the vital role that our airport plays, along with the San Bernardino Air Tanker Base, in supporting wildfires, especially during those devastating LA County fires. We amplified announcements from our federal partners, the State Department, that is now offering online passport renewal, 2 weeks for me from application to receiving it in the mail this year, amazing speed, as well as the TSA's Real ID deadline, which a reminder to all is May 7th. Please make sure you have your driver's license updated by then in order to be able to fly domestically as well as to access federal facilities. And we also promoted the K-Rock Storms Bear Mountain free concert with community engagement, both in the terminal and on the slopes. Okay, we'll get into the numbers. In January, we had 8 noise comments filed by 6 households. Come on. February, we had 17 noise comments filed by 5 households. And in March, there were 46 noise comments filed by 12 households. Year over year, totals and trends, we did see an increase in both the number of households filed, now the number of households as well as the number of comments received and attributed to ongoing aircraft operations, as well as the continued information that the airport provides to neighbors through the Good Neighbor program in order to let them know why aircraft are operating in the community and giving them the tools to be able to respond to the airport with any questions or concerns about those operations. Here you see the total numbers for the quarter with 71 noise comments received from 17 households. Of the total, we had 65% of those comments received from 10 households in Highland, and 13% were filed by 1 household in Victorville. Let's see, for the quarter, here you see the top 5 commenters, with 69% of the overall comments coming from households in Highland, Victorville, as well as San Bernardino. Here's the year-over-year information showing that for the first quarter, we had 48 more comments reported by 5 more households. Here's the comment breakout by aircraft category, the type of concern, as well as the filing method. with jet activity being the most prevalent report, and flying over the home, as well as frequency of flights being the most prevalent concerns. And over 2/3 of neighbors filed their comment through our online reporting system. Here's that same information in table format. And it also shows the 87% of the comments received didn't request a response from the airport, or they did not specify. So significant number of neighbors, they just want to be able to file the comment, share their concern, but don't necessarily want a response from the airport. Here's the heat map. It shows that the majority of comments came from neighbors located 5 to 10 miles from the airport, with one outlier being a Victorville household, which is about good 40 minutes, as you all know, 40 miles from the airport. And in summary, quarter over quarter, there were 9 more comments from 3 fewer households. Year over year, there were 48 more comments received from 5 more households. And again, this year over year increase is attributed to ongoing aircraft operations, the airport's outreach to the community, as well as engaged and concerned community members seeking more information, reaching out to the airport, and using the tools that the airport provides to them to provide those two-way communications. The Good Neighbor program continues to be an important resource. It's an outlet for neighbors. It's a way for us to communicate to pilots about neighborhood noise sensitivity. And it ultimately is a tool to educate everybody about the role that the airport plays, as well as those that use our facilities, how they can be a good neighbor to our community members. That's my report. Any questions for Mark and me?
Thank you, Rosemary.
I just have a couple of questions. So we had overabundance of complaints in Highland. Can you tell me, are any of those sheriff aviation related?
Mark, I don't know if you've gotten that
Only
deep
because
into
we've
that.
had a busy month on some issues, and I was just curious if that aviation made a difference or if it was the planes.
Is that January through March we're talking, of course?
I believe most of them were related to aircraft overflights. We saw a big spike in March, which is pretty typical. Part of that is due to the season change. It's a little warmer outside. People spending more time in the backyards, as well as a time change. We leapt forward. So those were the biggest contributors to the big increase we saw in March. As far as sheriff aviation activity, we received fewer comments for both the firefighting aircraft and for sheriff activity, but we did receive some for sheriff's aviation activity as well.
Okay. And then, so I noticed there were 3 major commenters. Do they live, can you tell if they live close by one another? Do you have that
They're generally in the same
neighborhood?
I mean, roughly. It depends, I guess, how you would define neighborhood, but they're in close proximity, fairly close proximity, I would say. Not necessarily the same street, and not necessarily directly under the flight paths, but they do see them and they do have concerns. And yes, they are. We received from your top commenters in the city of Highland. They're fairly common complainers, at least in the statistics that we hold. They're repeat customers.
Okay, and then do you think that any of them are complaining from the air traffic for Redlands Airport? Because I did see a number of flight pattern changed for the Redlands Airport this last month.
That's always a potential. And we don't, and the reason I give you a gray answer on that is because, as Rosemary mentioned, we don't always talk to them. We'll talk to them anytime they ask us to give them a call, but they don't always want to call back. But we're always responsive, and we close out each comment after its review, and certainly always happy to reach out to them if they request to be contacted.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Rosemary. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Rosemary, thank you for the report. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Okay. See you next quarter.
Okay, you will. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 12, review of status of the action plan for San Bernardino International Airport. Mr. Burrows.
Okay, like many organizations, we're in full-blown budget mode, and thank you to the Finance and Budget Committee for your time today. Mr. Cousineau and team are on track to get you a budget by June, so we'll be in the numbers and in the weeds, as they say. And then gearing up for May, that is World Trade Month, and it's been an interesting one to put together this year. But working with our U.S. Department of Commerce, looks like we will be able to put on a World Trade Week event on May 8th. So you've seen that in some of our communications, and we've heard from some of you. If you do want to attend or have others that might be interested, it's IE World Trade Week, and it'll be a condensed morning program at Bear Springs Event Center again. And so it's a lot to talk about in international trade these days. So, and with that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Burrows, would it be possible to get some kind of a flyer out for the trade?
Yeah, it's literally been a moving target here, but I'll get you the updated link with everything, and it's in my weekly update every week. So we'll get that out straight away.
Thank you. Penny?
And I did RSVP for the World Trade at the hotel to stop by and have coffee with you guys.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we've got a couple RSVPs, and we'll take many, many more. Thanks.
Okay. Madam Clerk, any added or deferred items?
No, sir.
Thank you. Open session, public comment.
No, sir.
Thank you very much. Commission member comments. Mr. Baca.
Thank you, Mayor Navarro. No, I appreciate the staff and the great work they're doing, and just kind of reviewing the items that were passed today, which I think are great items. A lot of on-site improvements to this airport, which I think are good. But I think one of the things that I think is important for this board to do to begin to imagine what is this airport going to look like 10, 12 years from now. I think that's just so important. We should talk about not only on-site improvements, but also at some point in time off-site improvements on what we need to do to improve off-site improvements. What types of things would an airline be looking for? The other thing, I know that we're going to have conversations at some point in time about getting a customs agent here to begin to have international flights. One of the things I had someone do a little bit of homework on Ontario Airport. I think there's 25 flights a day that fly to Mexico, and there's certain parts of Mexico that people fly 5 or 6 times a day. So I think there's an opportunity here if we look between the San Bernardino and Riverside region, the amount of people that are here, the 2.2 million here and roughly 3 million in Riverside County, you're looking at potentially, 5 million population that we need to begin to target and go after. And I still think people don't know we have an airport here. For the price you have to park every day, $5 a day, which is pretty cheap. So just things to think of. I think at some point in time, I know we're getting through the budget through June, but I think we should have a conversation on how we imagine this airport 20, 30 years from now, or at least within the next 10 years. And those are just my thoughts. But thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Baca. Penny?
I just want to say I had the opportunity to attend with Mayor Tran and Supervisor Baca this weekend here at the Norton Museum and the historical societies. There were about 40 historical societies representative, and we had an opportunity to represent the airport in our city. So they did a great job out there. So I just wanted to say thanks for letting them host that here. And they did a great job out there. A lot of history, a lot of rich history that they were able to provide the community. So I learned a lot as well. So thank you.
Thank you. I see no other requests for comments. There being no other business to attend to for the International Airport, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.